So many people feel like they're doing something wrong. Like, you can't be an investor with heart because everybody else that they know as an investor is an asshole.
Yeah.
Right? And they're greedy and they want to take everything. But if we go back to how we've learned to invest, it's invest from the heart to create a win-win. Well, I'm super dope for this is like episode 950 of Trial in the podcast YouTube world, but I'm really excited to be here with my friend Trevor Bradley, who we started off as like kind of a weird transaction with a broken sewer, and it's led to a lot of different trails in life, and I'm really excited just to have a long relationship conversation where the relationship is the key to real estate, not what you do and how you do it. And this episode is going to be all about how deep our relationship and what we've accomplished together throughout the years, collaboration-wise. Trevor, dude,
Appreciate
the
nice
guy that won't
introduction.
chase a single squirrel that I put in front of you.
I don't know. Yeah.
Come on. All right. Let's talk about who you are before what you do. So give us who Trevor is.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I'm a Christian. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm somebody that cares deeply about quality relationships in my life and my fitness and showing up for my community. I'd say that's like at the core of who I am and kind of what I stand for.
You don't have a database?
Right. No, it's a community.
I love that. I love that. Dude, let's go back to our original story, like where we met and how we met in this shitty circumstance. So why don't you give your perspective as to where we started?
Yeah, totally. So Steve, my dad's name is Steve, but Steve is like my real estate father. That's what I've realized. I'm like, and he's got gray hair like Steve, and he's got tattoos. Kind of funny enough how the paths do that to you.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean, I was just a traditional realtor, so just helping people buy and sell. And I come across this little house in Tempe in my neck of the woods where I service, and nice remodel, but we get into the sewer scope and it's trashed. This investor or homeowner made that honest mistake that we make when we're first doing home renovations of putting brand new floors down and nice kitchen and not checking.
That wasn't even his biggest mistake either.
No.
No, because I don't even know if you know the whole story behind it, how that happened.
I think I remember hearing there was like a fire at that house.
So yes, we met. So it's always crazy what we learned from flipping, because that was one that I learned to always check the sewer after. Right. So before that happened, you know how many times we've done joint ventures with people and they kind of have their responsibility to buy a house, do the things. Well, the owner of that house owned a big company in California, had a buddy here, called, was like, hey dude, we should flip some houses. I got this good deal. He's like, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
He sends him the money. Well, things start to go sideways on it because partner here never put insurance on the house and it burned to the ground. So this partner bailed because he didn't have any skin in the game. This partner in California is like, great, I got to find somebody to do it. So he hires a contractor and adds 1,000 square feet. They take it down almost the studs, and then they never check the sewer, which is where you come in. You're like, great, pretty house. And I got it at the end where we were doing landscaping and stuff, had no idea that they didn't do anything. And then we get to deal with, what was like 35 grand to go back in after the inspection. And thank God Trevor's patience and helping the buyers through what was going to be a tough situation.
Yeah, no, it was messy. I got a master class on just sewer lines in general, and that realization that like this always has to be dealt with anytime you even think about putting new floors down. Yeah. When a home's exposed like that, there's only one good time to do that, and it's it's at that point. And also I think I just saw like in that process like how you operated, like it was like no obstacle came up that wasn't like solvable. Like you run into a lot of transactions where it's like you almost feel from the other side like they feel defeated, or they're kind of like, well, it is what it is. This deal's probably just going to fall apart. But like at no point I ever felt that there wasn't going to be a solution or a way through this. We just had to both be kind of graceful with each other and like figure out where that common ground was. And in the end, we landed a new sewer line and got the deal done. But it was a shitty situation to say the least. But that's where we reconnected,
So let me ask this question then, is that from that transaction on, you've done several flips, right? You've definitely, that's part of your practice, and you've done so well with it. but not just wealth for yourself. Where has that translated those investment principles with your clients? Like, what have you been able to solve?
Yeah.
Like by adding that to your life?
Oh, that's, I mean, I think there was a point in my business where I thought that I needed to like get away from the traditional business because I had this intrigue in investing, and I was like, man, I'm kind of like feel like I've mastered some of this. I was just feeling a little bit bored and a little burnt out, right, by that. And I think one of the things that later on I came to realize in talking to you is that like those two businesses are so harmonious together, and they feed each other.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of back to your question, I noticed like as I started to peek my head into that world, like my confidence when I'm out there showing clients homes, knowing like the cost to deal with certain things, knowing what to look for, like that confidence just came through, and they're like, wow, this guy is dangerous in a good way. Like he's got a lot, he knows, the whole secondary layer that a lot of, I think, realtors don't. And I found that like my referrals increased, and my clients, like, I guess, appreciation of my knowledge was like really,
your value proposition went through the roof.
Correct. It was like really recognized. And I think my confidence just went up, and then that translated, like people could feel my confidence. Like when I was in there, it wasn't just like all this theory and principles like, hey guys, I'm actually doing this. Actually, I'm currently working on this project.
Right.
It's very similar. And you know what? This is probably where the sewer line goes and what we need to investigate and this, that. And they're like, I think just the referrals, all that stuff increased.
It's funny because you remember back when we first got in the business, you'd be like, yeah, don't worry, the home warranty will take care of all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
You had no clue what to say.
Yeah.
Right. And you would rely on the home warranty to like take care of things. And I think what's fascinating about it is that the industry always talks about transactions versus experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are questions that I don't think enough of the general public ask, is what the difference is. So when you look at that, what do you think the difference is in the personal experience of buying and owning and flipping your own homes, then being able to equate that with your customers and what it does for them? Like, what is the difference in transactional experience versus life experience in the real estate space?
I mean, it's like I have some clients, just because I took that relational approach that you're talking about, that it's like, that's an income stream for life. And it's not like, it's solely about the money, but it's like, do you want to upgrade the quality of clients and community that you work within and enjoy the work that you do and serve those people that are, maybe have shared like values and principles? Right. Or do you want to just have each, transaction be another dead end, and you have to go chase another one and start that process all over again? I mean, I'm just a big believer in like the farmer concept, like, like water it, cultivate it, and then that soil gets richer over time. And I think when you take that relational approach, that's exactly what happens, is the compound starts to take over,
So like, listen really closely to what he said. Like, what farming has been taught in our industry is to just go throw postcards out at people and do community thing. What farming really should be about is, Trevor's referred to it a couple of times as community, and you're going back and you're sowing seeds into that community over and over again, and you're nourishing it and you're watering it, rather than chasing something new. And if you're chasing something new, it means that you might not have actually put quality into those relationships. So where did you learn to do the depth of the relationship versus the transactions? Like, where did that come from? You've been doing this for 13, 14 years?
Yeah, going on my 15th year. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'd say I was lucky enough that my first brokerage, the first training that I ever did was Brian Buffini.
By referral only.
Yeah, the Irish guy.
Know anybody that's going to buy or sell a house, send them to me.
Totally.
Kind of like that.
The son of a Mason, like just humble beginnings.
But he's got a great accent too.
Totally.
We tell stories.
So everything in his principles and teachings were just about building a referral-based business. And the only way to do that was to make regular deposits into those relationships.
Yep.
And so I think I was lucky enough to grasp that mindset early. I really just didn't know any better, so I just did what was in front of me, and quickly I saw kind of a quick start into my career. I'm like, oh wait, like everything I need as far as to support my business and to be able to pour value in is like already within my proximity. Like I actually don't need to go, squirrel chasing, as you call it. Albeit, when you're early on, you do got to like lean into all the different lead sources. You got to do the Zillows, you got to do the open house, you got to do the crappy leads. Like that's all sword sharpening, right? Like it's necessary. But I think I quickly realized like, hey, if I just water these roots, they'll go deep versus shallow, you know? And
so when you
that's where it
start
started.
when you start to water them deep, though, you start to get where we're going to add some fuel to the fire and layers here, right?
Yeah.
You started with the depth. You've done really well with your community rather than database. So if everybody like listens to that, change that word.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be in your freaking database,
Right.
right? That's transactional business. Relational is where the depth comes in. So Trevor has gone through and built the relational and the depth there, and then he started to add the investing principles on top of it, doing it for himself. And now that's a deeper relationship and a deeper value proposition that has led to a lot of open doors to your clients. I mean, I remember when you first got your crossbody, I mean, it was a pretty nice piece and it came with some cash, but that was something you did for a client, right? Like it was a cool gift. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's one of the key things is like when you lean into your community and like people that you already have maybe rapport, trust, or a connection with. A couple key things that I noticed early on, like you get to be yourself and you actually get to like really lean into that. You don't have to go be somebody you're not.
You don't put a shirt and tie on?
Not anymore, not these days. You know, of course, early on, what I lacked in skill, I tried to make up for in professionalism.
Sure.
I've got a couple goofy pictures of me. Like I looked back, I had like, and bear in mind, this wasn't like that long ago. I had like the phone clip on my hip.
Oh, dude, we can like, we got to run some pictures, Christian, side by side, phone clips. Did you have the dorky Bluetooth thing that hung out over here?
Not quite that.
Come on.
But yeah, no, it's goofy. I mean, I thought that's what I needed at that time, but you know, I didn't know what I didn't know. But all that to say, yeah, I really get to be myself. And I think that was what stood out to me. I was like, hey, I don't want to have to be somebody I'm not. That feels dirty. It doesn't feel right. And so I started to just be more of myself. And that actually, by amplifying that, I attracted the right people.
Okay.
And the people that, you know, like rocked with me per se, like valued that. They appreciated that.
Sure.
I didn't have to, I could just lean into that. So yeah, the crossbody thing, best gift I ever got. So I basically had a client who I helped him buy his first home. It's one of my good friends. And then I started to shape him and mold him to learn how to become an investor because he had that appetite, he had the interest.
Yep.
You know, he had some money, but he's like, you know, how can you guide me? And so of course, coaching him, trying to get him in the right mindset. And we decided to go after his first rental property. And so we went after his first rental property. We found, and he even bought in a time where the market was kind of uncertain. And I just like helped him see that, hey, I actually think that this is an opportune time. There's a lot of people that are fearful. Sure. And avoiding buying right now because of rates are a little high and the market's a little slower. Well, he trusted that and took that leap of faith. We bought it. I helped project manage it and through some of my skills and just provide all my resources. He put his faith in me and funded the deal. We fully renovated it. And we're able to, like, year one, it was like cash from $500. And he was able to like create like almost 200K of equity. So like we bought it for $650. And then I think we had put like maybe 120 into it or something like that. I can't quite recall right now. And it ended up being like worth like $950 and then cash flow $500 a month year one. So like huge success story. He was pumped. This good buddy of mine is all about experiences. He's like, I really want to treat you to a nice steak dinner. Took me to a nice steak dinner, me and my wife, you know, his wife. Again, we're good friends. Well, midway through the dinner, he's like, hey, I got a gift for you. He pulls out this beautiful like Mont Blanc like strap bag, which, you know, I was like, wow, like I've never gotten like a nice gift like that. Like that bag alone is probably like $1,500. And then you know, he's like, go ahead and open it. And I unzipped it and there was like $5,000 of cash in there. Because what happened in the project is I went a little over budget of what I projected. And I just said, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. Again, this is that relational piece. I was just like, this guy's going to do more business with me. He's going to refer me. I'm not worried about making every penny off of this. Right. And so I said, just scrap it. I'll eat that on my project management fee. And, you know, he's like, hey, you know, whatever you feel like you need to do. But in the end, he kind of had this master plan to like gift that money back to me. So that was just like a monumental moment where I'm like, wow, I've never been gifted something so cool in such a thoughtful way. And I'm like, and this is what I get to do for business and for a living. I'm like, this doesn't feel like work. This feels like being in relationship and, you know, we all win in that situation. Yeah. So that was really cool.
So here's the, like, when I hear that, this is like the amazing thing that you've learned to do is that you didn't discount your fees, right? you actually took a portion that you earned and you reinvested it back into the relationship, right?
Yeah.
And because you invested that, we talked about off camera, right? It's the parable of the talents. Like, what are you investing in? What are you doing with those talents, right? So you reinvested in that relationship with no expectations. And the expectations were far beyond. And here's the other part, right? That seed sown, amazing for you. Like, there's a deeper connection there.
Yeah.
But then what happens now in the depth of that relationship going forward with that person, as far as their conversations with other people, their posting, depending if they're a social poster, like, what does that translate, and where's the return on life for that very small seed sown?
Yeah, no, it's well, yeah, I mean, that relationship actually has evolved to a really cool place.
Okay.
Like, we're still really close buddies. He's one of my best friends. So think about that too. It's just like so cool to be doing this kind of thing with one of my best buds. You know, obviously we're always like cautioned to be careful with doing business and friends and family. And I'm like, when I look back at my path, I'm like, wait, my friends and my family has been the heart of growing my business. If I would have took that advice, I would not be where I'm at. But you do have to be very accountable, and, you know, I think really work on yourself and be very self-aware that you're treating those people with like a very high level of like respect and care.
Sure.
But now
what happens when those people don't treat you with that level of respect and care?
Well, I think once you got enough, you know, relationships that you can rely on, you can be selective. And frankly, not all clients are created equal. Like, I've learned that. Like, I think early on, again, I thought like there should be you know, a standard operating procedure for sure, and every client should get like a bare minimum standard that should be high. But I've also learned that like my very important clients that really pour into me, I will go above and beyond and do extra for them. And that's the way it should be. Like, there's got to be this equal exchange of energy. And the clients that, you know, don't reciprocate, it's not that I won't serve them at a high level and treat them with care, but that's not fair for me to give them more of myself when I've got somebody over here that's truly like valuing it.
Right.
So I think that's a tough thing when you're growing your business and you're new. You feel very torn, and I'm like, but you have to be willing to say no to the wrong people, those energy vampires that will drag you down, because then the client who really is there for you and supporting you and needs your service is being impacted by that, by this person over here who doesn't value it the same. So I think my goal has always just been like to keep upgrading that bench and to get like clients that are even more like me and even more appreciative. And then I can truly pour my whole heart into it. And it's just so much less about money. The money just ends up being a byproduct, and you will be taken care of. Like, you know, the Jim Rome quote, like, you serve enough people, you will get everything you want in life. And I just feel like that's been the case in my business. Like, if I just keep serving and growing and learning, like, all my needs have been met and some, you know, I'm grateful.
Yeah. Man, that's powerful. My first concert that I went to with the kids.
Looks like an O'Doul's.
After rehab, we're at the Limp Bizkit concert, right? Yeah. And with my boys, we're having a blast, and they're getting beers and stuff, and I'm looking up and I'm like, oh, Liquid Death, like, it's water in a can. And I got this, and they come in tall boys. So there we are, sweating our ass off at what was Cricket Pavilion. I don't know what it's called now. Auction. And this went down so awesome, and it's become an addiction in the office. Like, it's stocked everywhere. It's stocked at home. It's the only thing we drink now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
It's great for the kids too, because like that's only 10 calories and natural sweetened. And
well, I know when you're going through that, like that journey of recovery too, like you feel a little awkward, like you need to do something with your hands, like sticking in my pocket. Right. What did I do with them? You know, and so just even having a can and being able to drink it, but not having the toxic you know, side of it, it's like helpful. Like, you know, even in my journey when I'm like deciding to take breaks or like control that discipline, it's like I usually have learned I'll just even get like a soda water with lime or like a Sprite or something, and then I don't feel as awkward. I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, everybody's holding a can. Like, we're good. You don't know that I'm not buzzed.
And now I just don't give a shit.
Right. Yeah. And then you get to that point. So
speaking of that, dude, can you give some perspective from your side of the fence, knowing me from the shitty situation through all these iterations? I mean, you were one of my first mentees, right, in the coaching program that I did. And, you know, Real has been a different side of things, right? And then we went into the garage and all the changes, but you've seen me personally change and business change. So like, how do you sum that up from your perspective? And you're still here.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
And we're still friends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess first off, I just got to say, like, I appreciate your heart, because you reached out to me in a time where there was really no gain to you other than the desire to like be in a relationship and like make connection with somebody that like we had enjoyed our interactions before. I was obviously already with Real. I wasn't going to be in your downline. There wasn't really like this monetary like opportunity. You were just like, hey, how you doing? Checking on me. And I'm like, wow, like I don't expect anybody to go out of their way to check on me, like, in that way. But I'd say that wasn't just a one-time occurrence. You've always continued to do that. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
In this business and being a self-employed business owner, a lot of these like real estate professionals can like, relate to this. Like you end up on little islands and it's very lonely and you're not operating by the same, pressures as like somebody that's in a 9-to-5. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's like, you're solely responsible for everything in your life, like just every day. And it can be a lot and you can easily like drift and go on to a little island. So I'd say like you pulled me off an island at that time. I wasn't like in a great spot in my business. Business was decent, but I didn't like internally feel very fulfilled. I was like, man, I really need to switch things up. Like this, I feel like I'm not in community. And I think that's the mistake we can make too, is thinking that we should be doing this like on our own or keep our footprint small. Like really, this is like life. We're meant to do this with other humans and people and connect. And so you had that idea, to start the garage, and that was just like a spark. And you're like, you just want to grab lunch and just talk and just see where this goes. Like there wasn't really this master plan yet. So I would say when I came into your world at that time, I didn't know what you had been through. Like as far as the last couple of years, like on the surface, as social media friends, I thought things were still pretty good for you, but I had no idea that you had just went through like a rehab journey and that like your life had just went through like a roller coaster and you kind of like landed on the other side and were trying to get your footing again. So that vulnerability right out the gate was refreshing too. I'm like, usually when somebody reaches out to you, they're giving you a polished version of themselves to try and sell you on something, and I just didn't feel like those cases. Like, wow, like you kind of like leveled with me right out the gate. You were really vulnerable. And then that like kind of like allowed me to drop my guard and be open and vulnerable with you too, And so anyways, from that spark, the garage started. The garage was like really cool because that was a season of my life. I truly needed that. And I think it was a season that when I'm looking back now, and I know I will look back in 5 years, that truly changed my life. I guess I skipped one piece there though. You had decided to do the coaching program, and that was like a beta like trial, right? Yeah. Like I think it was like I was amongst the first group that you decided to officially do that because you were getting too many DMs of people wanting your help, but you were trying to figure out how to like leverage that and get that in one room, right? And so that was the first point, like where your teachings and all your experience like really changed my life. So I would say that was the big first turn, because something in my brain got unlocked that I was like, oh wow, like I'm just seeing everything different and I can't unsee this now. And like I'd say the opportunities as well as like the potential of my world just like exploded, because when you're a traditional realtor, you're already in front of a lot of deals and around a lot of deals and there's lots of things to solve. But if you don't have that kind of these concepts and this mindset, this investment mindset, you just overlook them. They just slide right under you. You don't even realize it. And then once I started to learn in your class, like I was like looking back, I'm like, there's so many houses I passed up on, so many that I would have bought. Right. But that doesn't matter. It's like, the timing was right. And I was finally like ready to like really like receive and learn, what you had to teach. And it was nice because right away I was like, okay, this is not like another guru who's teaching a bunch of like theory. It's like you were actively in practice doing this, dealing with the really messy situations and solving through them. And, that program was awesome. I know you didn't end up like continuing it because I think we both learned like it's tough. You get like, 3 people out of 15 who are like really engaged, and then the rest are just soaking up like sponges, but not maybe taking action.
There's over-education and under-execution.
Totally. So yeah, I mean, I started applying that stuff, probably called you one too many times, had a lot of questions, but I'm like, I'm a student, man, and you got to ask lots of freaking questions. Like my son right now, he's asking me so many dang questions and it drives me nuts, but I never try and break that spirit. I try and answer as many as I can until I can't anymore, because I was a similar way when I was a kid. And I think asking lots of questions is what's going to get you closer to like what you want to achieve or to the knowledge that you need. And so many people I just think are like biting their tongue and like scared to ask those questions, even if they're really small, dumb ones. Yeah. I think like you talked me through like how to record like, a deed of trust investing, essentially, like
Yeah.
probably like 5 times before it really stuck for me. Not because you didn't know how to explain it, but because it is kind of complex and you kind of have to go take the action to really understand it. And there's a lot of nuances, but like that's not average stuff that like a traditional realtor can go apply to their world.
I don't even think the average guru would know.
Yeah. So
I mean, we cut some weird shit up over the years.
It's like a different language. Like I would say when I start talking about this stuff with like some of my clients, their heads are like, boom. And I'm not trying to like,
and then you have to reel them back in. You're like, all right, hold on.
Yeah, correct. And I'm not trying to like wow them. It's more like, they're like, oh wait, there's layers to this shit. And it goes deep. And, but what's cool is in the time that you were teaching me that was when the market was a little soft and it started to turn, rates weren't as good.
Yep.
And it opened up a whole new income stream for me. And in those years where like I think I would have had very like kind of flat or average realtor production, as a good producing realtor,
right.
I actually had really good years. My income started to like be balanced out by these other opportunities. When I was a little slow with helping some buyers and sellers, there was this these wholesale deals or these properties that I was considering flipping, and it kind of filled the gaps. And then so from then it's like my life's never been the same. Like it's like I'm consistently now, I'd call myself like a hybrid, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm doing both at a high level. I don't need to choose one or the other. I need to try and do both at a high level and let them serve each other. In fact, almost all of my personal flips have come from my traditional clients and community.
It's from your community, right? You're learning like, okay, where community goes, right? I can help solve and create solutions for people, which everybody wins. And I think early on, and I want you to speak to this, I think so many people feel like they're doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. Like you can't be an investor with a heart because everybody else that they know as an investor is an asshole.
Yeah.
Right? And they're greedy and they want to take everything. But if we go back to how we've learned to invest, it's invest from the heart to create a win-win, right? Because if it doesn't create a win-win, I don't want to invest in the solution of it.
Yeah.
Right? You guys can go do that with the sharks. So speak to that with your clients, like how you've been able to maintain and deepen those relationships in order to create those conversations. Because again, so many agents are freaked out about having that conversation. Like, how do I legally buy a house under market value for my client?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I know it's a distinct point you make. I think one thing I noticed in watching you and like as you were like solving through situations really, is like you just ask a ton of questions. Back to that point, you ask a ton of questions. It's kind of like, how can a doctor diagnose without asking tons of thoughtful, methodical questions? And I think that's what I was like, oh wow, like there's so many questions I'm not asking. So how could I ever possibly know what the best solution is or the best thing to diagnose? And so I noticed you asked a lot of questions. And then also I noticed that you were very, very honest and transparent, like about what your intentions were, where you stood within the situation. And, just that's the best way you can serve people. Is like, if you're just not honest about what your intentions are. And I think what was cool with that was that helped me from the realtor perspective, get over that, those fears or resistance that like, oh, if I become a realtor, it's going to be dirty or it's going to like, I'm going to feel like a shark,
right?
Cause that's not my heart and it's not yours. And, but I did have to navigate through that and say, well, the best way to just completely mitigate that is like let them know exactly what all their options are, and know them exactly what your intentions are, and let them decide what the best path and solution is for them.
Man, you've been listening to everything, right? I'm just gonna walk away now, right? I'm peace out. Trevor's taking over. First podcast is over. Trevor is the new host. I'll come back as a guest here and there. Thank you. No, dude, it's been, for me, it's such a blessing to sit here with you and know that our relationship has been maintained even through, my transgressions and the shit that I've done in life and the shit that I fucked up. But at the end of the day, the shit that I fucked up has taught everybody a little bit of something, right?
Definitely.
And I think there was some personal tie-ins. Will you touch on that, like with my story, your dad, and like if you're comfortable with that?
For sure. Well, like I said, other than the fact that he's like buff, got tattoos and gray hair, and you guys kind of like resemble each other, and your names are the same. My dad was a full-blown alcoholic like before I was born, but like basically the year I was born was like the year he got sober. So he's been sober for 35 years now, which is pretty wild. growing up, I always knew that was a part of his journey, and it wasn't something he hid from us. It was, he struggled with that addiction. He almost like lost our family. My mom had to give him that ultimatum, like basically like get your shit together, or like you will not be involved in our world. And of course, he made the right decision. And so I think growing up, I always had a respect and a little bit of understanding of like the addict's journey with at least alcohol, and my dad always iterated like that, sobriety is like a gift and a clear mind is a gift. And I've just always had that in the back of my mind. But I also always had that, I think, kind of care and understanding of like how easy it is to step over that really subtle line and end up in a bad spot. So
it doesn't happen. I mean, it happens. It creeps in, right? It's a subtle, slow burn.
Totally, and my dad even let us go through that journey as kids. Like, he wasn't like we drank a little earlier than we should have. We were having drinks in high school and partying and stuff, like probably before we should have. It wasn't always to his obviously knowledge, but I would say our priorities in the right place. We were good in school. We were good athletes. Like we were showing up as good humans. And so, I was talking about my dad this the other day, and he was like, some of it he knew about, but he was letting us like learn the journey,
your story,
without letting us get too far off the rails. But he made a comment that like stuck with me. He's like, you guys it wasn't like you guys were doing life first before you were doing the other things that you maybe shouldn't have been doing. It wasn't the opposite. Like it wasn't like, you were showing up.
Life was a priority over the party.
Yeah. And I think he had done enough of just helping us understand that like, again, sobriety is a gift, or clarity is a gift. That's kind of what he used to say, is like clarity is a gift. And I've definitely felt that. And yeah, so I think when I connect with you, it's just kind of funny, again, your name, your looks. And then like we started back on this new thread years later with you, going through your sobriety journey and just being vulnerable to the world and say, hey, this is who I am. This is where I've been. This is what I've done. This is where I want to go. Do you want to go with me? And, I think there's something to be said about that. Just you being courageous enough to not like hide that from the world,
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So all the lessons, the investings, the journey, like let's talk about your uncomfortable position, a little bit uncomfortable right now.
Yep.
But where this is venturing into your primary,
yes.
Like, and how exciting this part is. Because I was really excited to just for you to share this and hear about it. And I can't wait to see it.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, all those trials, tribulations, me taking a leap of faith, calling Steve, like just like applying all the things, I made it through lots of flips. There was various times that, I touched the hot pot per se by like just financially feeling a little stressed, a little uncomfortable because, you decide to go into the real estate investing, like you do have to build that aptitude or, I guess bandwidth for like risk, it's like
risk tolerance.
You don't get big reward without like taking that risk. And so it slowly grew over time, and I, dealt with lots of crappy old houses that needed everything, sewer lines, electrical, like the really messy stuff. I tend to play in like Tempe where there's older homes, and but everyone, I just kept that mindset you always have. It's just like just being like a student to the game. It's like even if you didn't make a ton of money on that, what relationships did you build? Did you tighten up your crew? Did you keep some of those guys fed? Did you create a new product or inventory for one of your buyers? Did you get exposure in that neighborhood? Like there's so many, I think, other layers that people are like, they might get so caught up in, is this making me this profit margin? But I was willing and able, because of, I think, the teachings, to say, wait, there's a lot of other layers of premium here that aren't just money, that will translate to future opportunity and to skill. And so it gave me the permission to go fail per se and be okay with it and say, shit, even if I just got paid to learn and broke even on that deal, think about how much I learned.
Right.
And I ripped the Band-Aid off. I did the first deed of trust. I did the first hard money note. I did the first, $100,000 renovation, then $200,000 renovation. And so through that journey, it just, again, has just continued to sharpen me up. And now where it's applying to my world is me and my wife have been subtly looking for a house for the last couple of years. The problem is once you learn how to do all that is you're kind of like unwilling to pay for somebody else's renovations or the premium for it. And so I've been looking for the off.
And you want to do it your own way. Because you know so much. You're like, I don't want to come in and change this. And I know the minute I buy somebody else stuff, I'm going to change it.
Totally. It feels like silly. Like I wouldn't be applying all the skills that I've acquired. And I also wanted to maximize the situation by being able to go secure, like in my situation, I bought this new home that's going to be our new home with hard money, right? A lot of people would be scared to do that with their primary home. Bought it with hard money. We've got a $10,000 a month hard money note. That's a little nerve wracking. That's all calculated in the budget, right? People don't realize, like, I'm not pulling out of my savings to pay that. That's in the budget for the asset, and it's been underwritten, right? Yep. So we're not loosey-goosey with this. And you know, I bought it with the hard money. Gonna renovate it, go force that appreciation, get the value up, and then restabilize it. And in the process, when I get to that point to restabilize, do a rate and term refinance, pay off the hard money note as well as all the money I put into it. And hypothetically, if I did that equation right, then I get some of my money back, a lot of the money back that I put into the renovation, and get away with not having to maybe even put 20% down. Right. I might only be in 10%, have a fully improved product with equity. And
because you can get to the point to create 10% equity and put 10% down, you skip your mortgage insurance and you get a better rate and all the other pieces.
Yeah, so it's a absolute game changer when you learn that, like, you can go do this. And so it's really exciting. I'm in the thick of it. I'm doing the renovation, but I've done so many of these flips and done this process, so I'm not so scared that as far as how to get there. It's just a new level of discomfort because of the kind of the price point, the mortgage, the whole stuff. But it takes me back to, again, almost like that first deal where I'm like, how uncomfortable I was and how scared I was. But even amidst all that, I just said, hey, like, just keep taking a step forward and trusting, the process here, and it works out. I mean, so it's exciting to be able to create our dream home situation and be able to utilize all these investment tools for a primary situation. It's just like, I never saw that coming, and that it would apply and create this opportunity for me. Meanwhile, I actually found the deal from another investor.
Here it comes.
Off market. Okay. So like we were combing the market. We could not find something for almost 2 years that made sense for us because we were being picky. We did have high expectations, but it was actually through the relationships, through the investor connection, that I found the deal on my Instagram. The guy posted on his story.
Here's the big thing, though, is that where most real estate agents throw this divide, all wholesalers are assholes, right? And they're scumbag. There's actually, the reality is there's some very good people that we have relationships with that actually work with us. They bring us deals. We buy deals from them. We give them deals. And the reality is those are the people we want around because that relationship brought you your primary.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it was already demoed. They were getting ready to go to town. You walked through it and bam, you have this great relationship. He probably got the profit that he was seeking anyway without doing it, but you were able to secure it. And here's the journey. Like, if anybody really wants to see this, I think it's been 8 years since Tempe. 8 years.
Yeah, since
right?
that first deal.
Yeah, since that first deal. So you walk 8 years down the road through COVID, pre-COVID, to where we are now, and thinking like, man, 8 years later, you're going to force a couple $100,000 equity in your primary and build the house of basically forever home for you and your wife and kids, at least through high school. And it's all because of the principles that you've applied along the way. They weren't realtor principles. They were investment principles that applied to the everyday part of your life.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't even be able to be where I'm at right now, like, without question, without like integrating the investment mindset, if you will, into my world. Now, like I said, I can't unsee it. I'm like weekly, I'm like, wow, like, this is insane the amount of opportunities that are available to me. The only limitation is, my willingness to do the work or what level of life or commitment I want to build, right? Like, it's like, if I want to go pour gas on it and turn this up, I can. But I'm in a stage where I'm raising young kids, and I'm like, I like to try and keep it at a balance because I want a good amount of my time still. But just knowing that I have those tools in my belt has changed my financial trajectory forever, and just my ability to serve my clients forever.
Yeah, your client's financial trajectory has changed because of the development of what you did, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is like the biggest takeaway for anybody to understand is that your career also impacts everybody else. And while you're trying to feed your kids and do your things, realize like there is a journey to this, and the people you surround yourself with is what's going to take you there. And if you've heard everything that Trevor said, the depths of relationships and the people you know is where your journey goes. Period. Right? I mean, if you stay small in some of these brokerages and play small with just the traditional, and this is what everybody does, that was where we broke out of the norm. Right? Which is, how do I mix investment with real estate and make it better for both parties.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you said it best. I mean, like, as you were saying that, another thing came back to me that, like, you were just always pushing, like, forget the stupid trophies in the office, forget the competitions. And there's a time and a place for that. You know, if, like, hey, if it drives you to be better, sure, go set some benchmarks, gamify it. But I think that was really cool to have that permission coming from somebody I, like, respected, that was, like, in a good spot. Was like, sweet, I'm tired of that freaking pressure. Like, it's got me boxed into a box I don't want to be in, you know? And so once we broke open that box and said, shit, the possibilities are endless or limitless, as you say, you know, the game changes, your life changes. And, you know, you're always, another thing that you always reiterated was just like, you're always, everything you need is already within your community, but you got to be willing to go have the conversations and tap into it and figure out how you can serve people first, and not, like, a key thing, serve and provide value first before you go asking for things and just go pestering people to support you. It's like, how are you going to be the one that takes the first step and lead, you know?
Power of no. One thing that I most appreciate out of you in the 8 years that we've been friends and colleagues, I will randomly call you with a squirrel and go, dude, let's have coffee. And I'm like, this is what I'm doing. Right? And you frequently decline. And I also very much appreciate it because you've kept on course. You haven't bought into the noise, and you've always been respectful about it. And I've always respected your decisions, and it's never been taken personally. But I do want you to talk about the power of no, because I think that you have the personality that could really teach people, like, hey, watch what you're doing, stay in your lane, stay in your vision, and just where you learned a little bit of that and how you're acknowledging that part.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, when you ask, like, the power of no, like, I think, like, the no's are more important than the yeses, I guess, is what I've realized in my journey, because the yeses can be, you know, like, that can spiral into a lot of different ways and end up actually, you know, wait, sorry, let me backtrack there. I felt like that's confusing the way I said that. So yeah, I think the no's are more important than the yeses, because the no's, you know, I think keep you aligned, like, with your values, you know, like, that keeps you clear-headed and aligned, so that you can, you know, keep your eyes and ears up for the things that, like, are really meant for you. And when you say yes, I feel like you miss a lot of the right opportunities and the things that are meant to really shape you and teach you.
Yeah.
The yeses are those distractions that can really pull you away from your true self, you know. If I know it's a little heady, but
no, but let's break it down in two categories, right? So how are you working through the power of yes and no when you determine whether or not you're going to work with a client or going to add that client to your community? Like, what's the litmus test to go, yeah, this is a no thank you, or this is a yes, I want to go create quality, which is what you've talked about, rather than quantity. And I think the industry is more about quantity than quality. So explain that process.
I think, like, the gut test is kind of the simple one. Like, you know, just like, when you think about that person, interact with them, like, what's your first instinct or gut feeling about it? You know, for me, I guess I just, again, because I say no to certain things, I can keep enough, you know, space in my psyche to feel it and to see it. I think when you got too much going on, or you said yes to too many things, to come back to that, you don't see the signs, or you ignore them. And so the signs are always there.
How powerful are the questions, though?
Well, that's everything, you know, like, it's
right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it,
So, like,
you've said it a couple of times, like,
so,
how
like,
powerful are the questions when we interview people?
Totally. Like, to get on the technical level, I think that's where you're kind of going, like, what strategies do I use to really do that? Like, for me, like, long ago, I created a simple Google form. It's free, right? Like, you don't need to complicate it. You don't need to buy this super expensive system for the people that are in that phase trying to figure that out. And I have, like, an intake form, whether you're a buyer, you're a seller, doesn't matter. Like, that's one of the first things I have you fill out in our relationship. Because if you're not willing to fill it out, I know that you're going to waste my time and probably your own, because it's a commitment exchange. It's like, hey, I'm going to go all in on you. You're going to get my best. You're even going to get me when I unfortunately tell my kids, hey, daddy's got to step away and make a call and take time away from them. And I want to make sure that if I'm going to step away from my kids and that sacrifice that time.
All right. I like that.
Because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm like, I keep my word and I'll follow through. And I'll even make those sacrifices. But I want to make sure if I'm going to do that, that there's an equal level of commitment. And then this relationship will be great. And we're both going to succeed and win. So for me, like, that's one way I've always done that. The moment somebody doesn't fill it out, I'm like, I can't put any more commitment or time into you, because this is an equal exchange of energy, you know? So the filter, and then I'd say just experience, right? Time and experience. Like, you see those couple key things and you're like, okay, you're unwilling to like talk to the lender, get pre-qualified. Like if you're working with a buyer, if they're unwilling to do that, you cannot spin your wheels on that person. Like the signs are there. Or if
that means they're window shopping.
Yeah. Or if they keep texting you like in the evenings, like really late, and you've expressed what your operational, like, you know,
boundaries
expectations are, boundaries, and they keep violating it, like you got to nab that right away and just be willing. I think the key thing is be willing to turn down that client and say that like we're not a good fit. I think it's hard when financially you need the money. Like as real estate professionals, a lot of times we kind of need the money.
But what happens like in both of our careers, the times that it happens the most though is when you need the money, you make a poor choice.
Yeah.
And then you're working with somebody that you really don't want to for the money, and they're going to keep digging into your pocket.
Yep.
And then you're going to be forced down the road to go, well, something's better than nothing. And now you're just depleted as to the human being you are. And by the way, they're going to be the people that waste the most of your time.
Totally.
They're the people that are going to drag you through the mud, make you go look at the house 95 times, and bitch at the final walkthrough over a dripping faucet.
Yeah.
And the hard part is the choice to walk away from something early on and go, this just doesn't feel good. And what happens is you used all that time and energy that you could have been putting it towards just having conversations with clients, building relationships, rather than chasing bad money, because you probably spent a lot of money chasing that. And at the end of the day, you're like, shit.
Yeah.
Or you didn't get anything out of it, right?
I mean, not once ever has, when I had those gut inclinations for those times that I did move forward and ignore the gut like inclination, what did those people
Every
surprise
freaking time.
me or make me wrong? Like every time, if I decided to ignore those signs and move forward, every single time my gut was right. So now I just said enough is enough. Like over the years, as I, got tenure, it was just like, I'm going to trust that like my community, my referrals, my people will take care of me. So if I say no to this one, there will be another one that finds that spot. And I need to have enough faith in that. But in the process, like I just was like, enough's enough. I see the signs. Unfortunately, I got to say no because it doesn't fit within my business model, like point blank, Now,
can you take that and spin that to somebody else and refer it out and go, hey, either, I probably don't have time for this particular real estate, but can I refer you to somebody else that might be a better fit for you?
Yeah, you're saying those people that I like maybe don't feel
that you don't want to work with.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think great point, right? Like I remember when I was very new, those were the people that were getting passed to me by my colleagues.
Right.
And I'm grateful for it because again, you need to like deal with the messy clients, the demanding clients, the ones that are going to run you all around, because that's some of the greatest lessons you can possibly learn. But once you become established and have enough wherewithal, you got to know that can be destructive. That's no longer productive. That's productive when you're new. You got to be a smorgasbord for all the shit, right?
Yeah.
Like take it all, like throw it at me, doesn't matter. But it's with a different cap on. It's like, hey, I'm a student. Once you're, I think, an established business owner, if you want to call yourself that, that can be self-sabotage. That can be not respecting yourself enough to know.
You have to put in the internship and the work and let people drive you crazy to know what you don't want. Right? Until you know what you don't want, right? It goes back to vivid vision, right? Negative clarity, right? If you have negative clarity, the people you don't want to work with, you're never going to find that if you haven't worked with an asshole. Right? I mean, that's probably like one of the most told stories. Like, I won't work for you. I will work with you, but I won't work for you. And that all comes from working with my dad's biggest investor and going, this guy's a greedy a-hole that doesn't really care about anybody but himself. I'm out. I don't want to work with people like this. I don't give a shit how much money you have. Give a shit about where your heart is and where we're going together. I don't need to be whipped over and over again by people. And I think some agents just feel like that's the business.
Well, it's a quick way to burn yourself out a lot in this business and to not want to do it. Like I'd say that was one of the things I noticed. I was like, oh wait, I'm having a lot of burnout patterns a couple times a year. And I was kind of trying to trace back to why that was happening. And it was like, oh, I took on a couple of those clients I shouldn't have. They sucked the life out of me and equivalated to like 7 clients, just these 1 or 2 clients. It's like the workload emotionally that they put on me, and it doesn't have to be that way,
And then when you start down that road too, and awareness is such a big part of this. Once you start down the road and you have a couple of those clients, guess what you start to attract? The same crap.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh crap, now I'm so far down the road. Now I have 4 of these a-holes.
Yeah.
How do I get out of it? Right? And it's starting to say no, refer out, find something that it's okay to find that peace and joy with people in order to have a decent life, right?
Yeah.
What about no's on properties?
Oh yeah. So I think initially that was early on, that was a hard thing to tie down. I think that was where the lack of confidence comes from a lot of people. They don't know what a deal looks like to say yes or no to. And so, that was one of the things you taught me, just like how to properly like underwrite a deal and reverse engineer that math, like starting with an ARV and then backing out your cost to sell and carrying cost and renovations, and then what, a wholesaler versus a flipper buys it for, what an end buyer needs it at, all those things. Now I would say that's one of the areas that like, I've taken what you've given me and I've just, again, made it my own. And,
right.
I'm a pretty good systems guy, as you know. So, but it's funny, it's still a free resource. I don't pay for it. It's a freaking Google sheet that I built out, and have every deal I've done, I've added new layers, and where my blind spots have been and where I've made mistakes, I've added that in and refined it. And it's a living, breathing document. But that has done something powerful for me. It's pulled a ton of the emotion out of making a decision on a deal and thinking like a true investor, and seeing it from a mathematical perspective with clarity. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still times where I bring in emotion and gut and experience, but that's mostly because I've made a decision to operate within my backyard, my area of expertise.
Sure.
So, when you're in your area of expertise, you do have these guts to kind of detect certain things that most people can't see.
Right.
You have a pulse on the market that is just different. And so I was like, well, I'll just play in the area that I grew up in, that I know best. Honestly, your own neighborhood is one of the best training grounds possible.
Yeah, because you're prepared for the opportunity. If you have the knowledge, the people, the houses, the things, it's the best practice ground for it.
Totally. I mean, for me, it was like funny. Like I'd be running my neighborhood, riding my bike, out with the kids, and I would specifically look for opportunities to connect with someone, say, how you doing? And just kind of chat with them in the neighborhood. And I wouldn't even bring up that I'm a realtor. I would let it come up organically. If that took 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever. But like literally that translated into some of my first deals. And it made project management easy too. I was close by. And but just
I know the last one you did, it was always fun because you would take your son down there. I think you were walking down there, the one that was on the water.
We had a golf cart. Yeah. So we'd drive our golf cart over there.
Yeah, you just go over there.
And that, that's a funny thing. Like that was so powerful for me. I was like, wait, whoa, I can actually invite my family into this world and do something like flipping, which just is like often just seen as like very like investor, transactional, and like let my family enjoy the process. On demo day, I actually brought my parents out. Again, most of these projects I just hire out demo. You shouldn't be doing demo, right?
Right.
But I brought them out.
But it is fun when you need to have a break room for a day.
Yeah, and like just the connection and fun we had. And we have this photo, and my dad's holding up this like mattress, and it's got like this dirty stain on it. And we're like laughing and like, but that was like a memory. And I'm like, and my son's in the kitchen smacking the cabinets with a bat and swimming in the pool, and like it just made something that's like, again, not what you think it's
a return on life.
Not the TV shows. But like an experience, while I also get to make money, while I also get to like involve my people, and it's powerful. Again, that's where I think each person's got to like figure out what's important to you, and then do it in your own fashion, but like back it with like the work and
next demo day, you can get all your clients out there and have an event.
Yeah.
I don't think you were there, the one that we did on the Hearn project.
No.
There's some pictures of it. We'll have to find some B-roll from that, Christian. But
do you have to get a liability reliever signed?
We did, but we did demo day, and we just did a class with like 20 people.
Yeah.
And then it was pick your tool for demo. Dude, we had paintball guns.
Oh, that's awesome.
We had axes and hammers, and dude, we were throwing bowling balls through walls and windows because everything had to go.
Yeah.
But like, man, you're like, give people whatever choice they want and go break shit. They love it.
No,
like,
that's awesome.
It's just freaking. It's a fun event.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. So yeah, I kind of lost track of where we're going with that, but yeah.
Well, it's just involving your family, right? And it's what they learn. And along the way, your wife sees something, your kid sees something, you're at the very beginning stages, and then they become Christian's age. And when they're teenagers and they're driving, you're like, yeah, your punishment today is to go clean out that trashed house because you were an asshole today, right?
You want to make some extra money?
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. And it gives them like your kids as they grow up, it gives them an experience of what you're out doing, and they feel connected.
Yeah.
Right. And I think these guys have felt connected to our business all the time because they've seen it. We've involved them in it. Yeah. It's never been like, you're a kid, stay over here.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys grew up with all this shit.
Totally.
Right.
Well, yeah, and I take the opportunity to teach my son. Like, you know, I'm out there, I'm like explaining stuff to him. He's 5.5, but he's a pretty sharp little kid. But I think like some of it, you know, he's like, whatever, dad, right? But I'm like, this is just another little vein to connect in and like teach him. And also, and it's important for me too for him to not just see dad as like this high level guy who's just like buying houses, like money is nothing, but like to be like humble and like go out there. Like there's days where, again, there's a lot of business models that would say I should never be on site doing anything, but that's not up to them. I've chosen like sometimes to go out there and, you know, sweep up the job site, pick up shit. I do it all the time. I'm like, you know what? It's just a principle thing to me. And like, I like to stay low to the ground and humble and in the trenches to some degree. But that's just like a decision I made. Some people might say, oh, you have a higher and better use of your time. And I'm like, yeah, so be it. But like, this is one of the ways I want to be involved. And like,
this goes back to the original question I asked you, like your ability for the power of no. And also, you know, what's so impressive about you, and it's something that I've actually learned from you, is that you stop saying yes to more things and you start to be narrow focused, even though somebody says like, I shouldn't be out cleaning up the jobs, right? That's typically my mentality.
Yeah. But
you're in your neighborhoods and you're doing it intentionally, because being at that house every couple of days, you might meet a neighbor, you might need something, right? It's a intentional, it wasn't not intentional for you to go there. Like I had to go clean it up.
Yeah.
It was intentional that I'm checking on, I'm loving it. I know where this is going. And this is part of what I do and who I am, rather than taking on, which again, your power of no, of what everybody tells you to do, and going, this is what feels good in the stage that I'm at. And again, that's where my big respect comes with you, is you have said no because of the time that you have with your family right now. You don't want to disrupt the rhythm that you have because your kids are young. And we've also had the conversation. I'm like, dude, hit me up in 10 years because you're gonna be ready, because the kids are kind of be doing their things.
Totally.
And you think about 10 years, you're like, God, what's happened in the last 10? What happens in the next 10?
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to think about, right?
That's been one of the most amazing lessons that I'm glad you brought it up, that you've like shared with me. That's just been huge. Like, you know, you being older than me and your kids being, you know, almost out of the house now. It's like a little foreshadow, and you're being gracious enough to say, hey, I look back and like did a lot of things right, but then here's some of the things I wish I would have done different, this, that. And, but hearing you say what you just said, like, hey, you're in that certain season. So like you are going to have to say no to some stuff, and it's okay to not compare yourself to the person who maybe has more time to give to their business right now, because you're prioritizing the most important thing. And again, when both your kids are at school full day, you're going to get a bunch of time back and you can go be as ambitious as you want. But I think that was hard for me because I'm an ambitious guy.
Sure.
And it is easy in this real estate space to play the comparison game and see other people doing more and putting more time into their business. And that was the first time I was given permission by somebody I respected, that also was a father, to say, hey, you know what, actually you're in exactly the right space, and be okay with like maybe not making as much or more money right this moment, because you'll look back and you'll never regret that you spent more time with your kids. But you can regret, oh, I just focused on money. I made so much money, but the most important things in life got sacrificed. So beautiful lesson that I've like kept with me. So I appreciate that. Yeah. It's kept me on my compass on the right spot when I do feel that urge where I'm like, ooh, I should go do this. I should go build another business or this, that. And I'm like, wait, what does that mean? You know, right now in this 5-year stretch, it's like, can you just have a good life in this 5 years and be most present with your kids and just be patiently building the things you want, versus like trying to build it all at once and then missing the point, you know?
Yeah. And I think the other part that's really important to understand, that where you add the investment principles in, you touched on it earlier, is like the difference in just being production real estate agent. You could look forward at 5 years taking on this new home. And the other thing, if you were just in production and go, man, this is going to be a super stretch. Like, I hope the market doesn't change. Instead, you're looking, you're like, there'll be another opportunity and another one in another way. And if I really need to turn up the fire, I know how to increase it when I'm ready. But right now, I'm not complacent. I'm content, but still growing in contentment.
For sure.
I think some people think contentment is like you just stop.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that what I've watched you do is it's the slow, steady climb without all the dips. And it's just, hey, I'm going to be consistent and move the needle, like you said earlier, right?
Yeah.
Move the needle every couple of days, every year. And this is what I got to accomplish. This is what it looks like. And this is my dream life. And I get to constantly evolve and pivot because I'm not so focused on the transactions and the trophies.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you said it best. I think one of the things too in my path that I realized was like your business and your like work identity just cannot be the only thing. No. So I get a lot of confidence and fulfillment from my fitness. Like I said, like I'd say fitness has been one of the key things in my life. Going back to my pops, like that he traded in the addiction of alcohol for fitness. And you know so much about that. That's like obviously one of the things that also worked for you. There's a whole business model out there that you're working on, you know. But he literally became a gym addict. And there were nights where like he even talked to me as an adult now. He's like, man, I feel bad I missed some of those dinners. But at the end of my work day, and my dad was in labor, and he would literally at the end of his day then go work out because he had to do it for his mental clarity and to stay on the path. But all that to say, he gave me the gift of fitness. And, you know, as a man and as a generator, someone who's got a lot of energy, I realized in that space, I gain a lot of my confidence and a lot of my clarity. You know, it's like you get the good juices flowing, you go flush out some of the crap. And I just really urge people to like not let their identity be so wrapped in the work. Go work so hard on yourself that when you show up to work, you already are equipped and already like your best version. I think that's actually I think that's actually my superpower. If I really had to boil it down, is I've always just, as you even say, like the first person that gets served every single day is me and my spirit. And usually that's through a combination of fitness and faith at this phase of my life. And then I show up for people and they can feel it. They're like, whoa, this guy's like clear. He's here right with us. He's not, you know, not that I'm perfect. There's days that are like that. But, you know, that's where you become really effective with people. It's when they can feel that difference, you know. You
become present in everything that you're doing because, again, dude, we went through so many of these things in the garage over that year. And, you know, the garage you said it was a great place in your life. And for me, it was like creating an AA meeting for me, right? I was like, all right, I built my circle, right? So I can protect myself because I wanted to give and I wanted to talk about it and I wanted to make sure and feel it out. But when we go down to it and what you just said, authenticity, right, is such a key in feeding ourselves, right? And so many people have it, God, family, business, right, all the things, but there's never a me in there, right? And it's going in that you and I are the same, right? It's up early and that's where I get my quiet and my peace so that I can show up when I do. And then when I go home, I can shut it down, right? And I think that is just, you know, the best I've heard it, you know, in just that piece is like, it starts with us, period. You want your business and your finances to change, your family to change. It starts with head and heart connection and realizing like fitness or not, right? There's some sort of movement, something you can find passionate. And I mean, dude, you did what? You did the Ironman or the triathlon?
Whatever. I'm not at the Ironman yet. That's coming in the pipeline in the future.
Is it? Okay.
At some point, I'm not training for it, but like
you need a marathon. Though.
That's on my list. I got to get that sticker or something. I feel like I need it in my lifetime. I kind of told myself that. But I did the marathon obviously for the first time last year, and that was in tandem when we were thick in the garage. And
you were starting that clarity piece, right? That was part of your journey.
It was, and I just think, you got to go get like obsessed with some stuff that like really something I heard the other day, which is like I feel like again we live by this. It's you know the do hard things era, right? We're in right now. Like it is very valuable. Like that way, like. The discomfort, like when life inevitably becomes uncomfortable, like you're already prepared for it. Or what it said was the voluntary struggle is important for the inevitable involuntary struggle that you will face in life. So like I was like, oh yeah, that's basically do hard things. Like that's why I go to run club every week. I'm not training for a race right now. That's why I go do the trail runs. Again, that's just my conduit and my canvas. Everybody should find their own. I am a believer that it's usually in some form of fitness. I think that God designed our bodies to move if we have that ability. So even if it's pickleball, like I love pickleball too, or it's just Pilates or yoga, I'm like, you got to do it. Like the body is meant to get that blood flowing and to feel some discomfort. I feel like that was the way we were designed. The voluntary makes you very strong when the involuntary inevitable comes, you know?
Well, it's where you started, right? Dan Martell, exhaust the body, tame the mind. and it's, I never could do the workouts at the end of the day like your dad, but
It's
I know
tough.
some people are, that is just
Yeah.
the way they're wired, because that's like almost like their happy hour, right? That's their wind down.
Totally, yeah.
Right. And for me, I need to wind up in the morning. It's like I need headphones in, kick-ass 90s hip hop and freaking metal, and go to town for 45 minutes in my own head and get after it, right? And that's just where I've always felt. I'm also enjoying just kind of like tracking my steps and doing just the tweaks, right? The Atomic Habit version of where can I improve something this year?
Yeah, no doubt.
Right? Well, dude, this has been an amazing catch up. I'm super grateful for it. And dude, thanks for coming in and just jamming out and sharing all that great wisdom.
Yeah,
I'm not sure who's going to be listening to this, but it was just fun to hang out with you and let me capture it.
Yeah, no, it was dope. And if I didn't say it enough, like a lot of credit goes to you and just helping me at a certain time in my career get my mindset right, you know, to look at life through an investment lens, and not the dirty investment lens, but like the one that, you know, I guess translates to all areas of your life. You know,
I mean, it's, you know, that's kind of like the end thing is that investment principles, if you look at it, it's a change of mindset in everything that we do, from how we invest time with people, how we invest money with people, like the investment in our kids. Like you start changing every word into invest, and you start to realize, what's my return on investment? Is it life? Is it money? What am I getting in return for this? And is it worth it? It's kind of like I was doing one the other day. I'm like, okay, the amount of money I used to spend at Starbucks versus the $500 investment of a Ninja coffee machine. And now I have time and money because I learned an investment principle of like, oh, let's change this.
Yeah.
Right.
You would never recognize that like opportunity if you didn't have that mindset, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, brother, appreciate you.
Drop that mic.
Drop that mic. Bam.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, that was an amazing episode conversation with Trevor. I actually have this mind map that you guys can get right here. Would love for you to join the conversation, ask the questions. And if you're looking for guidance like Trevor entered in my world, check out Course Corrections down below. There's so many amazing pieces, and it's extremely affordable for anybody. My goal is for no agent to be left behind, so that you can understand investment principles and where to apply them in not only your life, but your real estate life, or even your personal life, whatever that looks like. So join, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and keep coming back for some more of these episodes. This was just a start trial, and we're gonna keep getting better. Peace out.